Hey guys, this is Arm Productions, aka Number 473. I'm sorry for sounding a little not too loud. I'm a little under the weather today. And yeah. Shippers are always this much fun. For a moment I waited for Nick to answer for me, but when he didn't, I did my best to compose myself for a reply. James waved for the server to bring us some more drinks. What's the matter, throat too dry? The prince laughed at his own joke, and the guards laughed with him. Alex doesn't like to talk. Really? I hadn't noticed. That wasn't even sarcasm. The next round of drinks came, and I hadn't even started mine. James sipped what was brought to him, and I watched my brother empty another glass. The prince must have decided to keep up with him, because he drank his down too. I was starting to get a little uncomfortable. Oh, we should play something. Pardon? I have some cards, we should play a game. Oh, I like games. What do you have in mind? That depends what you're into, your highness. Highness? Goodness no, call me Alistair, please. Okay, Al, what kind of games do you like? I do enjoy a bit of gambling. Don't think we make enough for you, Al. No? Then what if we wear good drinks instead? Hey, that could be fun. Wanna be dealt in, Nick? Sure. How about you, Alex? He doesn't want to. Hey, I kind of did. Especially not for drinks. James still looked over at me for confirmation. Fuck yeah! You can't tell me what to do! Screw my brother. If I wanted to play, I have every right to. I'll play. Nick looked grumpy about it, but didn't do anything to stop me. Okay. You too, Mr. Fox, got your tongue? He nodded over to Fox. I'd almost forgotten the masked man was there. I wonder if it had more to do with his silence or maybe some kind of magic he'd have put over himself. He was a spy, after all. He seemed to consider the offer, excuse me, team, for several moments, but then shook his head and leaned back on his chair with his arms crossed. Heh, guess you can say no. Who wants me to pick up the deck? Yes, please, that sounds like fun. I had no idea what that even meant. Me neither. This was not my best call. James produced a deck of rough playing cards from thin air and tossed them out. Judging by how deftly he flicked out the cards, the tricks from 1 moment ago had probably been sleight of hand. I need to look out for that later. Maybe he didn't try some. Make sure he didn't try something shady with a game that I knew nothing about. I thought about asking for the rules, but the others seemed to know exactly what was going on, and Nick wasn't asking on my behalf. Was this his way of punishing me? Okay, would you like to deal first, Al? They're your card, James. You may deal. Alright. Without hesitation and with decent skill, James dealt everyone 12 cards each. I waited to see what everyone else did with theirs before touching mine. My brother went first. He picked up the cards in front of him and started to arrange his hand. I did my best to mimic him, or at least made it look like that what I was doing. Since I didn't know the rules, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to arrange anything, so I just did it in numerical order. Oh, carte blanche already! The prince smiled and James rolled his eyes. I was suddenly feeling far less confident. I'm not sure I should be playing this. Fuck it, I've decided. Game's trying to make me do all this stuff. Fuck no. Then what if I'll get a little drunk? It'll work out. I never did manage to figure out how to play, but I didn't need to know the rules to notice James was cheating as he dealt the cards. A lot of hands he tossed out seemed to be in the prince's favor. I guess he was just pandering to the royalty. I expected Nick to say something about it the second I first noticed, but if I saw it, he must have caught on several hands ago. But he never did, and when James did cheat to win a hand, he slipped the drink over to my brother. It was like a bribe. After a while, I stopped really paying attention to the cards and just focused on my brother and James. The more I watched, the more I realized James wasn't letting Alistair win because he was royal. He was going to get him incredibly drunk. And Prince Alistair was a very boisterous drunk. Then, the next thing I knew about the bandit was absolutely smitten with me. What did you do, Al? James tossed out a hand with which the prince won. He drank his winnings with a grand flourish and continued his story. What could I do? I'd only come to rescue her sister from those awful bandits at her father's business. I had no idea her very own sister was their leader. Then it turns out the bandits hadn't even taken her. They had saved her from a forged marriage to a brute 10 years her senior. The prince won yet another hand, but Alistair's story had drawn a rather large crowd of patrons. It was a pretty fun tale, but my attention was mostly still on James. Perhaps it shouldn't have been, though. As James dealt the cards, the prince engaged, I almost didn't notice my brother's wandering hands. And he was so casual about it. It was no wonder no one really took any notice. With Alistair distracted, my brother had easy access to the prince's purse full of coins. He took the little bag and tossed it to James, who helped himself. I could not just believe what I'd seen. They were stealing. They were really stealing. Oh, those arses! God, that's not nice. My brother stood and abruptly excused himself. I'll be back. Skip my hand. Sure thing. James smiled and pressed the purse into Nick's hand. The bag looked like it had been empty if I couldn't be sure. I'd have to have a word with my brother. Seriously, dude, that is not nice. Okay, he's a prince and he probably has everything on a silver plate, but that's still not nice. You don't steal, not even from the royal. Dude, I thought you were an okay guy. Dude. Be careful, I'm not putting you on my blacklist. Be careful. I'm having it ready here. Actually, I don't, but it's on my phone. Nick brazenly slapped the empty purse onto the counter and waved over the tavern keeper. He noticed me standing next to him, but didn't seem ashamed by what he'd done at all. Hey! I smacked the counter and forcefully pointed at Alistair's purse and frowned. My brother stared at me for a moment, then he laughed. It was nice to see him smile, but I didn't think this was funny. Calm down, Alex, I'm not keeping it. The tavern slid a dirty glass over the bar. There was a mouse trapped under it. Nick lifted the glass, quickly grabbed the rodent by the tail, and stuffed the creature into the purse. I was still stunned, but at least it wasn't because my brother was a thief. It was James' idea to settle an old score. When it was obvious I wasn't following, Nick continued. Back when I was maid, the prince liked to abuse my services. He sent me absurd fetch quests that got me into trouble with the commander. It's not like I could refuse him, he was the prince, you know. Anyway, James and I worked out this plan to get back at him. We wanted to fill his room with live mice. We went through all the trouble of catching them, and then he just up and left for his trip. This is an aberrated version of the original plan. Nick smirked and held up the squirming purse. I guess we could try the bedroom thing again, but since he doesn't seem to remember me, it would be overkill. Probably. I pressed my lips together and huffed. And this wasn't... What if the mouse bit Alistair and he got sick or something? Nick returned to the table, purse in hand. I followed silently. Why did the cat thing must have seen? He just don't care. He's just like, well, he's not in danger or anything. They just stole for him, so yeah, that's not part of the job description. Why are there so many assholes? Jesus. Like, I understand he's being pushy, Alistair, but he's never done anything particularly wrong. Jesus. I followed silently, wanting to tell Alistair that there was now a live mouse in his purse, but I never got the chance. As soon as the purse was replaced, James took his cue. Hey Al, do you think you could pay for this round of drinks? I mean, you're the only one getting to drink it. You are absolutely right. The boy beamed with mischief as Alistair grabbed his purse. He stuck two fingers and pulled the strangest face and yanked his hand out. The prince hurled his purse onto the table and the mouse made its daring escape and was caught short, quite literally. With a squealing death rattle, it was pinned to the wooden floor by the head with a thin throwing dagger. A waitress scurried over to clean it up and my eyes travelled to the fox, who noticed my gaze and gave me a thumbs up. Something bit me! James chortled, but my brother didn't react much. It was supposed to be revenge. I thought he'd be enjoying it more. Or maybe he was. It was just hard to read him now. Jesus! Poor mouse! You know what, that's not very fair. If you could just let it run free. It's just a mouse. Like, I'm sorry, but it ain't hurting anybody. Maybe it bit him, but hey, it was scared. Like, I'm sorry, but I have a soft spot for that, because I always save the mice that my cat brings up to my room. They're always alive. She never kills them. So I always set them free, even though it takes like an hour to actually catch them in my room. Oh, blow on it. He held his injured hand on one of his guards, who blew on the prince's finger without hesitation. You should dip it in your drink in case it gets infected. You think so? Tears welled up Alistair's eyes. James looked at him with a mocking sort of seriousness. But then, it won't matter if you have plague. Plague? Oh, I'm starting to feel faint. Calm down, your highness. Spotting a wan smile on his face, the prelate stepped to examine Alistair's finger. I didn't even know the prelate was here. It's not that bad, but I'd like to disinfect it and wrap it just in case. We need to go to the medical tent. Yes, of course! The drunken prince wobbled to his feet, supported by his guards, the fox trailing behind. He whimpered. Just make sure I don't have the plague. He was really overreacting. He's drunk, for God's sake! People overreact when they're drunk. Do you not know that? Jesus? Like, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but like, you cry a lot when you're drunk. I do, at least. It was really overreacting. I will do my best to make sure you contract no ills from your injury. And the prelate was handling it well. He surely earned his title. As Lucius stepped away from the guards, Nick and James stood evidently planning to head out. I decided to walk with them. I didn't have much reason to stay either, but it had been quite an exciting night, and I was glad to have company on the way back to camp. The only thing left for me to do was get some sleep. Outside the jubble warmth of the tavern, that was quickly supplied by biting cold, we huddled together and tried to cut a path through snow and ice. Seriously? And he's wearing that? Chick is barely even wearing anything. Not that I mind, but you gonna get sick, dude. Alright, anyway. I am tempted to go for this guy. He's nice on the ice. And interesting as well. Outside the ice. The Archmagus had apparently been drinking with the prelate because he joined us on it. Oh crap! If he was drinking with the prelate, then we need to be there. God, give me a second. I'm sorry, but I'll try to get on his path, and I think I'm gonna fail. I found it. Everyone knows that magic is only strong in the south. But see, voices. But see, it does not need to be in that way. You don't need to draw it so close to the source. Was that the Archmagus? I can't talk! I glanced behind me and saw that I was right. The prelate of the Archmagus, Archmagus, was sitting at the table near the bar. Apparently they were discussing magic. If you know how to guide it, you can bring it to you no matter the distance. You can, perhaps. Your people are blessed with such abilities. My people are blessed with nothing more than what the men have here. We are simply educated differently. Even if what you're saying is true, no one is going to listen to something so blasphemous. Blasphemous? Do you think it's blasphemous? I know what it means, can't pronounce it. Lucius. What I think is hardly relevant. The men paused and the Archmagus looked in my direction. It would seem we have at least one captive listener. Cordale, have you been listening for long? I shook my head. See, he's only turned his head out of curiosity. Really, because I see true interest in his eyes. Am I wrong, Cordale? I blinked at him first, unsure of how to respond. Am I interested in the conversation? Sure, it's magic. Who isn't interested? Excuse me, the reporter stopped. I shook my head again. He wasn't wrong. I did want to hear more. Well, then perhaps you should join us. The Archmagus smiled at me and gestured to an empty seat at the table. I was still miffled at how he treated me before, but I decided to accept the offer. I highly doubted the prince and my brother would miss me that much, and this sounded fascinating. Really, Rubus, we're going to need to catch him up now, otherwise he'll be lost. Perhaps not. This one has an air of intelligence about him. A preference for silence is not the same as intelligence, you know. It shows a certain willingness to listen. Are you willing to listen, Eyed Cordale? I nodded. The Archmagus looked me up and down. Actually, I think you may be able to prove my point. Are you interested in magic? I was, but then I couldn't think of anyone who wasn't. I nodded. It will require that you speak. Are you capable of that? I nodded again. Good. Look here, Lucius. The Archmagus took a bit of chalk from his robe and started to mark the table. This is entirely unnecessary. I hardly think so. The Archmagus smiled at the prelate and turned to me. Look at this mark. Do you think you can duplicate it? I looked at the stuff he'd drawn on the table. It looked pretty simple, just a circle with a few lines in the center. The lines almost looked like letters, but there weren't from any alphabet that I recognized. I nodded. Rubius handed me the chalk and I drew a slightly wobbly copy of his sketch. He'd made it seem a lot easier than it actually was. Good. Now focus on that symbol and think of fire. I did as told. Hold your hand over this candle, and do not stop thinking about fire. He set an unlit candle before me and I complied. Perfect. Next these words. But the things he said next weren't words, not exactly. I'm not sure what they are. Go on, you can do it. If I can't understand a syllable of that arcane tongue of yours, Rubus, I can't understand why trying to tell you it's confusing to people who don't have the right blood, but you won't listen. Nonsense, you just have to train your ear for it. The Archmagus said the words again. This time I could actually make out some syllables. Ah, recognition, see, he's beginning to get it. I'll believe it when he can repeat them. Go on, Eyed Cordale, try and repeat after me. He spoke again, and sure enough, I could actually understand him. In fact, I couldn't understand why it took me this long to actually hear it. It was so simple. I didn't manage to repeat what he said exactly, but I must have been close enough. Fire sparked under my hand. The candle was lit. The Archmagus clapped with delight. Not Magus! Oh my god, I can't talk. See? What did I tell you? There's a very good chance you just did that, Rubus. The prelate rolled his eyes. Oh, please, you heard him repeat the words. I heard gibberish, as I do every time you spout your spells. You just don't know how to listen. The conversation went on, but I simply couldn't get over what I'd just accomplished. I'd used magic. I'd created fire out of nothing and set a candle aflame. It was such a tiny thing, and yet it was absolutely amazing. I wanted to revel in this feeling forever. I wanted to do it again. My reverie was interrupted by a very girlish scream. Had someone attacked one of the servers? Yeah, mouse. When I turned around, I saw the prince in a panic. One of his guards was blowing on his hands, and the mouse was skittering off the table. Guess he'd gotten bitten, but he was kind of a baby about it. How drunk was he? Very drunk. Will you be tending to that, Lucius? I turned my attention to the Archmagus and prelate. I suppose I'll need to. Instead of moving, however, Lucius remained and sipped his drink. Was he gathering himself? I suppose dealing with flailing prince could wear the nerves something awful. Blah. After a moment, he stood up, put on a pleasant smile, and made his way to the Alastor's table. Calm down, Your Highness. It's not that bad, but I'd like to, wrap it. Medical sense, yes, of course. The drunken prince wobbled to his feet, he whimpered. Just make sure I don't have the plague. It was really overreacting. Alright. It was fortunate for all of us that your Archmagus' voice was naturally loud. I doubt anyone would have heard me. This way, quickly. Lightning cracked in the sky. Ominous snow clouds rolled over the moon. Despite all of this, the Archmage's flame showed no signs of dying out. In the future, will I be able to do that too? We need to move before this weather makes travel entirely impossible. The prelate started walking, followed close by the Archmagus. The rest of us brought up the rear. My brother stayed at my side as we trekked through the dense snow. I looked up at him in an attempt to read something, anything in his eyes. Whenever I got scared as a kid, Nick would always look at me and smile. It was his way of telling me that everything would be alright, that he would protect me. This time was different. He just stared ahead, completely aloof. The army had obviously changed him. One of the Ellistor's guards was now carrying him through the mountain snow. Ugh, this is boring. I want to hear a story. The prince was suddenly petulant drunk. Without hesitation, another guard launched into a quick tale. Because the wind was howling so much, I couldn't make out the first part of it, but I managed to hear more when I drew closer. So Johnny was right there above me, with his spear in the bow, panting. Yeah, it's a story. The men roared with laughter. I want to hear one from Fox now. Despite knowing he was with us, I was sort of surprised to see him suddenly emerge from the thick flurries. It was hard to tell if he intended to oblige the prince, but it didn't matter. Anything he was about to say was abruptly interrupted. Oh god, that was a red screen, which means bad things. It was difficult to take in all at once. The man's eyes, which had glittered with good humor a moment ago, grew wide and glassy with shock. It was strange. I couldn't stop looking at the arrow in his throat as he slid onto the snow. Althea! Get down! Suddenly Nick was on top of me. I heard whistles, thumps, screams, and cursing. When I opened my eyes, I saw the body of a guard. The arrow was lodged in his throat, and blood pooled around him. A pair of strong hands pulled me to my feet. Thanks, Nick, but it wasn't my brother who helped me. I was looking up into the red and white mask of the spy master instead. I stared at the masked man while Prelate Lucius stepped up beside him. For there being a dead body at our feet, he didn't seem very concerned. Your brigade will be needing you. I could see to your... No. Very well. I trust that you and the spy master can mind the boy. In a moment, the man's mask was gone. The man with the mask was gone. Or perhaps the spy master handles more important matters. I would still advise that you deliver the eye to Commander Bruce, Tarek. Nick nodded, but he was about to protest, but then he shut his mouth and nodded. He looked like... I'm so sorry I can't talk today. Oh god. From somewhere in the snow I could hear Rupert's voice ring loudly. I intend to see you on the battlefield, Lucius. If you don't, then you'll be in trouble. The prelate didn't bother yelling it back, but the laugh from Rupert confirmed that he heard it. Get your brother to the commander. Do it quickly. But do it quickly, he won't be at camp much longer. My brother nodded. Jonathan, can you get the prince safely to the castle? Ellistor, he'd been so quiet I'd almost forgotten about him. I looked around for him, but I couldn't spot him anywhere and he wasn't answering. Did the spy master already spirit him away? Jonathan nodded. Good, you can assess me tending to Michael. He may yet be saved. Jonathan nodded again. Mechanic. I'm just calling him mechanic, because I can't. What's your assessment of the situation? It's snipers. I don't know who we're up against, but they're using longbows and whistle arrows. This sudden snowstorm is super convenient. It's gotta be blocking them from our line of sight. Come on, brother, let's go. Nick grabbed my hand and pulled me in the direction of the camp. As I looked back, I saw a prelate kneel over the soldier. Whether it was to treat his wounds or administer last rites, I couldn't tell. Then James disappeared into the swath of snow, running in the other direction and towards the brunt of the chaos. I thought I was nearly blinded by the... Though I was nearly blinded by the relentless storm, it didn't take me long to notice that we weren't going towards camp anymore. I looked up at Nick, confused, and he stopped walking. We're not going back. For a moment, I was a rush with relief. My brother was going to help me escape, but then my mind turned to the soldiers to the camp, of the men who had already fallen, to the civilians in the tavern. I thought of James, who was already making his way to the front of the line, and the silly Prince Alistair that had been rescued by the masked spymaster. I remembered the prelate who was tending to the wounded, the archmagus who demanded to see the prelate in the thick of the fight. Could I really do this? Could I really leave everyone behind in order to save myself? Should I stay and fight for my fellow soldiers, run away from the war with Nick? Fuck no, we're staying! I shook my head and pulled my hand from his. What are you doing? At that moment, we saw Assistant Commander Baron head towards us. Snow swirling about him. He walked with purpose. Nick saluted. Assistant Commander Baron. Baron looked my brother up and down, a deep frown wrinkling his face. What's going on here? You're heading in the wrong direction. The battle's that way. Cadale and I are going to grab something the prince left in the castle. This is no time to indulge in the prince's silly games. We need you. This goes for you too, Cadale. The shock of seeing the god die was starting to wear off, and real fear began to take its place. I nodded. Follow me. The troops were rushing past the armory and were hastily equipped with weapons. Get geared up, Cadale. We're to find Commander Bruce. Nick saluted and I did the same. Baron scoffed. Don't salute, cleric. You're coming with me. Wait. Don't salute, cleric. Okay, you're coming with me. That's right. Assistant Commander Baron's long stride quickened his pace towards the commander's tent, and my brother hesitated in following him. Be careful. Of course, I was going to be careful. I didn't want to die today. Well, yeah. I followed the line of soldiers all the way to the mouth of the armory tent. Alex, I thought you'd be here sooner. I was a little surprised to see James handing out the equipment I'd expected just yesterday. Was this part of his job? Did you get lost or something? James laughed and handed me a long-shafted weapon made of strong wood. It was a pike. I already have a weapon. I showed James my sword. That's more of a dueling weapon, Alex. You need the pike so you can get in the proper formation. You know, there's a cavalry charge or something. But I'm not sure if that'll actually happen. We have no idea who the enemy is. Isn't that exciting? No? That's more scary. Okay. How did they get the capital under our noses? Hey, you two clucking like hens. There's a battle on. Yeah, move it. Sorry, lads. Alex, you better grab a pike and get going. Have fun. Thanks. I will. Okay. Soldiers jostled around me as we moved towards the battlefield. They were the same boys I had stayed up with last night. Alex, get your skinny butt over here. It's demons. Only demons would attack at night. There's no such thing as demons, you fool. It's Alabaster. You can't trust those damned foreigner wizards. That makes sense. I heard their arrows were magic. I bet the Archmagus has been secretly helping him. I don't trust that bastard. No, he's a good guy. King Kendricks are preparing to fight Telmira across the sea. I keep telling you that doesn't make any sense. If we attack Telmira, who would we get fire oil from? And the nobles will pitch a fit if we stop importing the caviar they love so much. It's definitely demons. My teeth were chattering. I couldn't tell if it was from the chill on my nerves, but I wish I'd worn warmer clothing. As my fingers grew numb, it became more and more difficult to hold on to my pike. Suddenly, the soldiers in front of me halted. Form a line. Everyone around me began to fall into some kind of battle formation. I tried to copy what the men were doing, but I hadn't been trained for this. Don't worry, we're not on the front lines. The real pikemen up front. They've got fancy armor and training and everything. There's no way the fighting will come to us. Suddenly I heard a terrible noise. God, I'm not sure this is gonna end well. Things are looking really fucked, I'm sorry to say it. The other pikemen ducked, and the line of men in front of us raised their shields over our heads. Man. Think fast. Duck or look to see what's happening. I'm sorry, but our head's gonna... The man in front of me also raised his shield, so I quickly ducked under it. I heard a thunk from the shield above me and a scream next to me. Look! The soldier who'd been talking to me now lay on the ground bleeding. He'd been hit. Yeah, fucking help him! The shaft was buried deep in his shoulder. He must not have ducked in time. Nick or the other predate would know what to do. Why was he here instead? Why was I here instead of one of them? Use fire magic. Why the fuck would you use fire magic? I'm sorry. Removing the arrow is not gonna do anything. There's nothing I could do. If I tried to help, I would only make it worse. King Kendrick's a fool. Why are we attacking the keep? We should be forcing the enemy to take the fight to us. This is our capital. We are forged factions. Don't be a coward. What kind of soldiers would we be if we just retreated? Alive soldiers? The enemy will slaughter our children while we hid behind our walls. Is that what you want? Don't even know how many of the enemy there are, or who they are. Maybe it's demons. I felt lost in the blinding snow, so I stayed close to the shield bearer in front of me. I could barely see him. I wanted to grab the tail of his coat, but that would be childish. It's the enemy! I could barely make out the shadow of a line of men moving towards us. Should I hail the shadows or attack silently? Attack silently! I put my fingers to the lips and nodded to the men next to me. They nodded back. While the pikemen assumed the mobile formation and marched forward, the shield bearers drew small swords. I was on the first shadow before he had a chance to react. My pike penetrated his body with a jolt. At first I thought the weapon would break, but I was able to withdraw it and jump back before the shadows did. Goddess, it's the enemy! My fellow soldiers made a quick work of the shadows. Lady of the Ice. These were our own men? Fuck no! Then we're going back. Cry out. Stop right there! The shadows halted. I recognized that voice. Is that Commander Ide, the new kid? The soldiers seemed to sigh in relief. Okay. Shit. Thank goodness it's just some of our own men. They must have gotten turned around. That wouldn't have ended well. I'm glad I have the chance to go back. Okay. From now on, we don't go back, okay? From now on, we do not go back. Because that's not morally right, so we don't go back from now on. Oh, that's gonna suck. We marched on in silence. Only if it's like a choice where I can get on somebody's path, then it's okay. The screams and sounds of battle grew closer. We're getting too close. Stay sharp, man. We're near the front lines from now. Now, probability hills uphill. Uphill? What hill? I couldn't see anything. Then I heard a whinny in the sound of hoofbeats. It's the cavalry. Ours for the enemies. It's the enemy, I'm sure of it. Ready your pikes. I fell in line with others, waiting for the next order. The hoofbeats grew louder. Behind us, the searching rallied a second line of pikemen. I could make out the cavalry now. Wait, these weren't horses. They were reindeer. Their hoofs thundered against the ground. Where had all these beasts come from? I was going to be trampled. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, I just said... I kinda wanna hold firm, but I don't wanna die, so nope. I dropped my pike and began to run. Run! The other soldiers did not hesitate to follow. What are you doing? Come back, you fools! I heard the hoofs beat just behind me. Through the snow I saw the horned outline of man. Its rider wielded a huge sword with a great... Oh, he hunted down the fleeing pikeman. He was the last thing I ever saw. Crap, okay. Then... I thought I should hold firm. Okay, they know what they're doing. Listen to your guys, okay? My arms shook, but I didn't break the line. The soldiers beside me looked at me in surprise. I nodded. He smiled back, acknowledging our shared courage. And then the mass of flesh was upon us. The reindeer reached the line. They screamed in fright and shielded away from the pikes. Shouts and curses was heard from every soldier, but the line remained unbroken. Suddenly, a strange glow lengthened the shadows, and the falling snow began to twist and curl. The falling, it transformed into tiny lances of hard ice that rained down on the enemy. A cheer rose up from our soldiers. The archmagus had finished his spell. The enemy's reindeer screamed in pain as the icy point struck them. The enemy cavalry, thus repelled by the ice and our pikes, beat a hasty retreat away from the hill. Good work, man. That's proper discipline. Okay, I'ma listen to you next time. I'm sorry, I just didn't want to die. I forgot that we actually had pikes. We're still alive. This is madness. Who knows what they're planning next? Where's our own cavalry? I told you, this is Mad Kendrick's fault. Who knows what kind of damn fool strategy he's cooked up. Hey, let's be optimistic. The longbowman just saved our life. It's Art Cordale here. Art Cordale, the assistant commander is asking for you. Who is Art Cordale? They're talking about Alex. He's right here. He's been in our unit this whole time. He's here, Sergeant. Thank goodness you're still alive. So I hate for the assistant commander's eye to die on my watch. You have to take him a message. He should be over on the front lines with the commander. Here, take this and give me your pike. It'll only slow you down. Really? I thought this was the front line. He gave me a wax-sealed perkament in exchange for my pike. Go on, lad. He needs you. I tramped through the powdery new snow, unsure of where I was going, but determined to get there all the same. I held the parchment delicately, almost as I feared it would vanish from my fingers at any moment. Part of me wanted to read whatever the message was, but that wasn't my place, and my fingers were too numb to break the seal anyway. The front lines weren't what I expected at all. I never saw nor heard fighting, and the only soldiers I laid my eyes on were dead in the snow. Shouldn't there be more going on here? As on cue, I spotted two pikemen in the distance, fighting a mounted soldier. The two pikemen fought with grace and speed, keeping the reindeer at bay as the cavalrymen tried to strike them down. Those pikemen are being attacked by a knight. Should I get involved with the battle? Oh my god, so many choices, and I'm so bad at them. You can just see how awful I am. I want to be brave, but I have a... Ah, damn it! I rushed towards them. Unlike the soldiers I had been with earlier, these pikemen were skilled and fully armored. Nevertheless, they could not outmaneuver the cavalryman. As the cavalryman cut down one of the pikemen, set his weapon against the charge, impaling the reindeer as it traveled him. The rider toppled off the dying reindeer. I reached him just when he was getting up. I held my sword to the man's throat and looked him over. He just swore at me. He was wearing the Arthurian colors. This man was one of our own soldiers. No, wait. I looked closer. This wasn't the Arthurian uniform. Not quite. This style was that Arthur used years ago when I was a girl. Different than Sinapavil was subtle, but it was there. The soldier spat in my face. Traitor! How dare you fight for Arthur? Who are you? A true Guardian. You are a fool to fight for the Mad King. He needs to wipe out our people. Let me go and I'll spare you. A Guardian? No, they were my own countrymen. How could they be my enemy? Tie him up. Keeping the point of my sword trained at his throat, I ripped my length of cord from my uniform with my free hand. One of the pikemen had survived the encounter and he crawled to us. I think one of his legs was broken. I handed him the length of the cord and he began tying the man's hands. The Bulgarian man just glared at me. You'll regret this. It was hard work and we didn't have very good rope to work with, but in a few minutes we had bound him sufficiently. I heard more hoofbeats behind me and risked a look back. It was the prelate's medical unit. Hi, Cordale, you're alive. What's going on? Message. He snatched the parchment from my hand and looked it over. Then he handed it back to me. What does it say, sir? Never mind that. Just give it to the assistant commander. My clerics will tend to this man. I'll find out what I need to know from him. You find Baron. I would give you a reindeer-eyed cordial, but I'm afraid my clerics simply can't spare one. I nodded. Goddess be with you. I hadn't gone far when I stumbled upon a grisly scene. Men and reindeer were locked in small skirmishes amidst trees, and many corpses lay in the blood-stained snow. What had happened here? Where was the assistant commander Baron? I couldn't see him anywhere, dead or alive. Then a cavalryman saw me. Was he one of ours? Hey, stop! No, he wasn't. Not the way he was riding. He intended to run me through. I no longer had my pike. A fear preserved me. I grabbed a crude spear from one of the nearby dead and braced myself, but the weapon had been weakened badly. I couldn't withstand the reindeer's charge, and when it stabbed, the force propelled me backwards into the snow. Goddess. Suddenly, a huge blade slashed into the reindeer's neck, cutting the beast's head clean off. Blood gushed from the stump, and the corpse crumbled in the snow. The bloodthirsty blade lashed out again, this time cutting into the rider's leg. Then a large gloved hand reached down and pulled me up. Assistant Commander Baron! I'd Cordell, you're alive. People kept saying that. It made me nervous. Why shouldn't I be alive? I thrust the scroll into his hand. The parchment was waterlogged and tattered, but it had survived the trip. What's this? For a moment he was silent, then he looked at me. I knew it. Come on, boy, we have to find the commander. Stay behind me. You'll do nothing more fighting. Holy shit! In that instant, every buried himself. Yeah, I can see that. Baron fell to the snow. He was a cavalryman. How he'd managed to shoot with such injuries? How? It didn't matter. There was no time for such questions. Before he could fire another shot, I was upon him and cut his throat. Then I ran to Baron's side. With the last of his strength, he returned the scroll. Find the commander. Help him. Traitors in the ranks. The commander needs you. He died in my arms. Fuck, Baron! Oh no! God, I said he wasn't okay, dude, and then he just dies. Oh my god, this is literally Game of Thrones. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Oh no. I had no time to mourn. I had to relay the message. I heard at the head of the front lines, I found him, despite the surrounding Bruce, found like a madman, lashing out left and right at the enemy's soldiers. Those who were smart enough to stay away trembled in fear. Suddenly Bruce caught a cavalryman who had come close. The force of the blow knocked him out of his saddle and onto the ground. Without hesitation, Bruce crushed his skull. Even after the rest of the enemies had fled, Bruce continued to hack away at the corpse until his arms were covered in blood. Eventually he looked up, saw me, and smiled. I Cordell. I saluted the commander and handed him the scroll. He glanced at it carelessly before tossing it aside. Did he even read it? Where's Nicholas? We can't have the Cordell brothers apart, no, sir. Sir Baron's dead. He sent me the message. There are traitors in the ranks. Don't worry, my boy. Baron can't die. He's invincible. You are fucked up in the head. Bruce was absently patting my head with a bloody hand. A surgeon approached us hesitantly. I checked the cut of his uniform. It looked real. He must be one of us. The surgeon saluted. Commander Bruce, sir, what do we do? Isn't it obvious? The enemy is holding up in a keep over there like a bunch of bloody cowards. Let's charge the bastard. Sir, the men are afraid of demons. The enemy caravan have broken through our lines. Our pikemen are being slaughtered. Are you disobeying me, surgeon? No, sir. The frightened surgeon turned his attention to me. You're like Cordell, aren't you? I've heard of you. Where's Assistant Commander Baron? He's dead. What? Baron is dead? Why didn't you tell me, Alex? Something was wrong with the commander. I hadn't noticed before, but now it was clear as day. All this time, who had truly led the army? The surgeon's eyes pleaded at me, his voice barely above a whisper when he spoke. What do we do, I Cordell? Fuck no, we're not obeying this giant, crazy man. What if we retreated? Retreat! Never use that word in front of me. The sudden thunder in his voice made me want to run and hide, but I couldn't. Could I? This man was crazy. He was going to get so many of his soldiers killed. And maybe I could convince him of that. Or maybe I'd just make it worse. Okay, this commander is clearly nuts. And the person who would actually work out being a real commander is dead. We're not going in there, okay? I'm taking charge. Right here, right now. Commander Nana, welcome me to the ranks. I'm gonna end the episode here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.